quick introduction to a new tool that I have developed and released. It's called Polylith CLI, and it is a command line interface that adds tooling support for Python projects using the Polylith architecture. And we have that since before, but only for Python and Poetry. So there is a Poetry plugin that adds the tooling support, but with the CLI, it is now also possible to use other dependency and package management tools other than Poetry. So beginning with adding support for Hatch. So in this page you will see, you will have a quick start about how to set things up, some basic configurations, and then you're ready to start coding. So if you don't know what Polylith is about, there's links to the documentation here. And if I would give a really quick introduction to the Polylith architecture, so it's a monorepo thing. And in monorepos you have source code and artifacts to build. And Polylith makes this developer experience really nice. It has a really simple approach to sharing code between different kinds of projects. So that's basically the essence of Polylith, and there's a lot of things to read up on if you're interested. Want to know more about it. So the new CLI works like this. So I'm going to start off with an example. I have added an example repository and have set it up with Hatch. And so if you are a Polylith user and maybe a Python Polylith user, you would recognize the setup. We have our bases, components, development, and projects. And the source code live in the bases and the components folder. So we have, it's like namespace packages. All of them share the top namespace. And you will find the source code in these folders like this. And in the projects folder, we have the infrastructure for what is needed to deploy, to build and deploy something, to, the artifacts that you want to have running somewhere. So that means basically having a PyProject TOML file. So if we look at this example project, it uses the Hatchling build backend, has some basic project metadata. This is really simple and has only cares about Fast API and Uvicorn. But what's probably interesting is this section, which is a Hatch feature that makes it possible to include source code, the source code that lives in the bases and components, into this individual project. So a different project would include the source code that it needs, like this. So that's basically it. And if we have a quick look at the development PyProject, which is where you actually work and run code, the PyProject TOML at the root folder. So I have added the Polylith CLI as an environment dependency like this. So that makes it possible to run the poly command from a terminal in this repository. So I'm going to run all the commands in a Hatch context, which makes it possible for the poly tool to be aware of the current environment. So I'm going to use the help command. So the helps feature. So with this we can see the available commands, and if you already use Poetry and Python, you will recognize the same amount of commands. It works exactly the same as the Poetry version. So there's commands for different kinds of actions, and let's begin with the most simple one, polyinfo, which is a way to visualize your current Polylith workspace. So in this workspace we have 5 projects. We have components and bases, and also we can also see which component is used in which kind of project. And that information is really useful when deciding on what to deploy. There's also the polylith command that can help you automate this process in a continuous integration environment. So you can, if you change source code, let's say that you change something in the Kafka component, the command will help your build process to decide on which project needs to be deployed and which project isn't affected. So there's a bunch of commands, and you will find all of them in the documentation. And if you are a poetry user, you probably already know all about these already. So that's basically it. It's available on PyPI, and please try it out and share your feedback. And if you have something that it's some feature requests or something that doesn't work as you have expected, please let me know about it. So navigate to the Python Polylith repo, add an issue or start a discussion maybe if you have any feedback or questions. Thank you for listening.